Today I am going to discuss the pseudocode that is given on pages 319 and 320 of your book, in which you are supposed to consider a class of 20 students, and you are supposed to consider that each student is appearing in 6 subjects, and for each subject each student is appearing in 5 tests. In order to minimize your hassle, in activity 8.11 you have been asked to consider only one subject instead of 6 subjects, and instead of 5 tests for each subject you have been asked to consider only 2 or 3 tests. I am considering 2 tests over here, and instead of 20 students you have been asked to consider only one student. Basically there won't be much change in the code, but the actual hassle will be avoided in the output. When you will take the output, it will be easier for you to look at the marks of a single student and the marks of only one subject, and for one single subject the marks of only 2 tests. First of all, I am discussing the pseudocode. In the first statement you are declaring 3 variables, one for taking out one for saving the average of the whole class, then one for saving the average for one student, and one for saving the average of one subject of that student. In the second declaration you are declaring 3 variables which will be used for loops. Student will be used for student loop, subject will be used for iteration of subjects, and test will be used for iteration of tests. Then class for the whole class in the integer form. These are the data types. The real data type is for allowing the decimals or points. The integer data type is for whole numbers. For class high, class low, class total, you will consider integer data type. Then coming to the student level, you will calculate student high, low, and student total. And then coming towards at the level of subject, each subject of that student, you will consider subject high, subject low, subject total, which will also be in whole number form. Then you know that if you want to consider high marks, you will compare them with 0, and you will keep on saving higher marks. If you want to consider low marks, you keep on comparing them with 100, and you will keep on saving lower marks, and a total will be added to the class total. These are the 3 constant values, specific values. I have decreased the number of tests from 5 to 2. I have decreased the number of subjects from 6 to 1, and I have decreased the size of class from 20 to 1. Although the loops are the same in my code, so that I can make changes according to the need. For the outermost loop, only one student is being considered. The loop will iterate from 1 to class size, and in our case it will iterate only once. And for every student, the student high will become 0, student low will become 100, and student total will become 0, because every time these values will be initialized for every student. For every subject, specific subject of that particular student, these 3 values, the highest, lowest, and total, will be initialized again. And for every subject, the specific number of tests are being taken. This iteration and this code will iterate 2 times or twice for us, because I am considering 2 tests for every subject. We will enter the marks of students, and then these marks will be saved in a location in memory named as mark. If this mark will be greater than subject high is right now this is 0. Subject low means lowest marks, and we are comparing them with 100 and trying to find out lowest marks which will be saved in a variable named subject low. And when the this iteration will complete, all the marks that will be collected for those two tests, those two marks will be added to the that subject, that one subject of that student. So the marks of two tests will be saved in one subject's total, because we are considering only one subject right now. Then we will come out of that loop, because tests, we have considered two tests. Now we are considering that one subject. That subject's average can be taken, because now we have got the total of those two tests and can be divided by number of tests, which is 2, and this will enable us to get the average, high and lowest marks. Anything that is written in double quotes is printed as same to same as such on the screen. This subject will save a value of 1, because only one subject will be considered. This subject's average that we have just calculated will be saved over here, which will be printed over here. Subject high has just been calculated over here in subject low, so that they will also be displayed. After considering the subject, we will come out that loop and we will start thinking about the student high, student low, and because now we are coming upon the level of student. So if the marks of that student in that very subject are high, that student then higher than student high, it means we are comparing the students, that which student will get the highest marks, that will go into student high, which student will get the lowest marks. And then in the end, after coming out of that condition, we will add the subject total to that specific students total. In our case, we are considering only one subject. When all 6 subjects will be considered, all six marks will be added to that one student's total over here, and that the teacher will be able to find out where that student is standing. Next comes the level, the last level, the highest level. We are now going to calculate the average of one student. This average and the student high low that we have just considered will be printed on the screen. The student is now we are only considering one student, but if we will consider two students, this statement will be repeated for every student. These three statements, outputs will be repeated for every student, student number 1, 2, 3, etc. Now comes the class level. In the class, the student who has got the highest marks will go into class high. The student who has got the lowest marks will go into class low. Now his marks will go into class low, and then class total will be calculated by counting the total marks of all students. This pseudocode is for 20 students, so 20 marks will be added to class total.